shine when the light grows dim. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fear of a Flat Planet, presented by Toyota. My name is Henry Jackson, and joining me today, we have quite possibly the most multitasking member of Team Canada. He is a member of the Next Gen squad, moving up into the national team. He's a professional wakeboarder. He's also the host of the Fear of the Flat Planet, presented by Toyota podcast for the Next Gen team. It is, of course, Mr. Liam Brearley. How are you doing tonight, Liam?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, mate. I'm pretty good. And for full disclosure, how many times have we recorded this interview?
Probably tried 4 times now, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So we caught up earlier in the season, and Liam was going through his first stages of jumping from the Next Gen onto the main team. And at that moment, things weren't going so smooth, huh?
Yeah. Back in Aspen, I had a little bit of a rut to get out of, you could say. So then after that, went to Switzerland and things got a lot better there.
Yeah, that's it. So Liam, why don't you take us through the end of the season? We'll do it in the weirdest chronological order. We'll start with the end of the season, then we'll go back and talk a bit about your origins. But yeah, so your end of the season was incredible, right?
Yeah. So World Cup in Corvatch, which you were there for, MCing, but it was a really fun course, really big course, kind of spring riding with everyone. And it was like pretty unique, and it was such a cool place. And then ended up second to Marcus in that one.
I mean, you mentioned Marcus Cleveland was there, and it seemed like everyone else, I mean, to a point, was there as well. Like everyone looking for that last result of the season.
Yeah, pretty much like all the big dogs, all the pros, some of like the new riders to the World Cup circuit, you could say. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, and to come out in second place must have felt pretty good.
Definitely. I wanted to get another good World Cup result this season. I had third in Calgary last year, so I wanted to kind of do that once again, even though there was like basically no World Cups this year. So I'm glad I did. It
wasn't just a second place at the World Cup, was it? They awarded all kinds of different prizes that day. It was like the actual World Cup, which you got second. Then there was the Park and Pipe overall, the World Cup overall, the slopestyle overall. There was like all kinds of podiums going on. It was quite confusing.
Yeah, so there's 3 of them. There was the original one, the actual World Cup. Then there was the like overall seasons points for slopestyle. And so I don't know how. I didn't know that it was possible going into this competition, but I ended up second in that as well. And then there was this thing, I think it's pretty new this year because I haven't heard of it. It's called Park and Pipe. So it basically incorporates points from pipe, big air, and slope competitions all in one. So it was Marcus first, Yuto Tatsuka, who like won a bunch of pipe events. He was second. And then I ended up third in that somehow, I guess, because I had a big air result as well.
Yeah, sick. So clean sweep of all the podiums, the first, second, and the third in that last event of the season. That's sick. As a next gen rider coming up and competing with the national team, with the main team this year, what did those results mean for you moving into next year? Because next year, obviously, a big one, moving in, final qualification year, coming into the Beijing's final few events to get a spot on the team. Does that put you in a good stead with the rest of the team, or is it still pretty gnarly to get on there?
It's definitely like it'll be a battle right till the end, but I'm glad I got that result because that like boosted like my ranking quite a bit, and I think that will definitely help. But traveling with them this year was kind of nerve-wracking at first, like competing with like the guys that I've watched videos of and like looked up to all the times, really, since like before I even snowboarded. And then now like competing for a spot on the team with them is kind of crazy, but they've all just become like homies and it's super fun.
So yeah, you know, most stacked team in the world potentially: Seb Toots, Max Parrow, Mark McMorris, Tyler, Mikey, Darcy potentially, and then you got a young rider like yourself coming up, having some pretty good results. What would it mean to compete for Canada next year?
Dude, that would be a bit crazy. Like that, going into this season, I guess you could say that like that wasn't really in my sights, and like part of that was because I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but also I didn't like think that I'd be traveling with the national team and like being able to compete with them this well on the World Cup circuit, because it's like my first year doing like the full circuit, like with all the World Cups and traveling, even though there wasn't a lot this year. So yeah, I don't know, it's like didn't really think of it until the end of the season. So
how does it work as a next gen rider for that? Do the coaches like say, hey, you know, we might bring you to Austria, to Kreuzberg, or maybe we're thinking of bringing you to Lax, or do they suddenly go, yo, you're on a plane tomorrow, you're going to a World Cup? Like, do they let you know in plenty?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like, here we go?
Like there has been times, like for example, World Champs in Aspen, I was in Whistler and I was planning on staying there for another whole week and then going to just the World Cup in Aspen, not World Champs. And then I got a call like 2 days before I had to leave, like, Tyler's not going again. Do you want to go? Your flight would be like literally tomorrow. And then I had to like pack my stuff and just go to the airport and go to Aspen right away. So it's like sometimes real short notice, being like having that like alternate spot, I guess.
Yeah.
But like some of it I got lucky and got spots. Some of it I earned my spot. So some of it's a bit crazy. Some of it was planned, but still a bit of a hectic season because nothing was really for sure with COVID and everything until like maximum 2 weeks before.
Yeah. Do you deal well with that? Because, you know, there's some people who need everything organized in their life, and I guess those kind of people wouldn't handle this season very well. Are you pretty good at being like, oh, well, I guess I'm on a plane tomorrow, World Champs, let's go?
Yeah, I tend to be pretty chill with that stuff. Like, as long as I know my riding's at a level where I can hold up or I can do good for myself, then I'm just chilling. Like, I'll go with the flow, do whatever. I don't really need it to be planned.
Fair enough, mate. I mean, how old are you now?
18.
Oh, mate, you're fine. I think when I didn't even know what was going on in the next 10 minutes. Riding level. So you mentioned riding level there. Gotta say, one of the best back 14 indies on the planet. I saw a couple of those go down in Corvatch. I like them very much. How do you approach coming into a contest against the big dogs? Do you have a kind of like a level that, you know, like, look, I know, you know, more or less I've got this, I'm going to stick to that plan, see how that goes against them? Or do you kind of adapt to the contest? Are you one of these riders who can suddenly, you're like, well, I guess I got to throw something I might have not landed that often? Or do you kind of stick to a game plan?
Definitely the second one. Like, I'll show up and sort of ride the course, and like I don't have to be planned for trips. It's like the same thing with my competition runs, or that tends to happen, where I'll show up and I just basically kind of feel it out, see what I can do on the course. And then a lot of times before, it's like a World Cup is like a bit higher level than my riding. Some of the runs are anyway. So it was like in qualifiers, I would just like do my best run, like put it all out there, and like that was my chance to make it. And if I made it, then I would try and step it up some way, and or like do a trick that I haven't done before. And then this year it kind of transitioned into like I could hold back like a little bit in qualifiers so I could have that step up run for finals, because I started learning some more tricks and stuff. So I'm definitely getting more comfortable with the higher level competition. But when I show up, I just like to see what I can do, see what flows, see what's going to score good.
Do you like get thrown by other stuff that's going on during the contest? Or are you like, no, this is what I'm going to do? Like I'm pretty good.
So actually my coaches helped me out a lot with that. Like a lot of times I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. And I just saw, like whoever do this trick that is like way better than my trick on that feature. And I'm like, well, now I need to do a better trick. So I actually have like a chance of making it. And then Elliot this year, he'll be like, no, like the rest of your run is like better than that, or like you'll be able to make it, just land it clean, even if it's an easier trick, because execution comes into play so much, especially when there's a massive field like that. And so he's just like, no, chill it out. You don't need to like risk falling on this feature for something that's not going to score you much higher. So thanks to Elliot for that. And then I end up holding it back and just trying to land clean. And that gets like also a good score, even though someone is like doing a much better trick on one feature.
Have you noticed the opportunities with physio and sports psychologists and all of this? Is it much better on the national team, or is it something that's available to the next gen as well? And you can take advantage however you like?
When you step up to the national team, there's just like a few more like cool things. There's more opportunities. The team has more budget. So sometimes they would be able to pay for your accommodations, or, we have like an extra person. For example, we have a neuroscientist, I think, that comes with us every once in a while. And he has these cool toys where you can like fly a drone with like your mind. It's like just the craziest thing.
Whoa, hold on. You can fly a drone with your mind?
It's a little remote control helicopter. So what he does,
I know what a drone is.
No. It's like one of those like toy helicopters. It's not an actual drone.
Oh, okay.
But he does a lot of research around flow state. His name's Chris Bertram. And so basically he has this like cool device that you attach to your forehead and your ear, and it like reads the speed of your brainwaves basically. And so they figured out what speed your like brainwaves have to be at in order to be in a flow state, which is where you like learn the fastest. It's where you're like in the zone. So the goal is to practice that and be better at getting yourself into flow state when you show up to a competition and stuff like that. And so this thing reads, and when your brainwaves are at the right speed in this like little range that is flow state, the toy helicopter like turns on and flies. So it's like the coolest thing. It's mind blowing. But
I mean, for the people who maybe, flow state it's something that people hear a lot about, but for those of you who don't know flow state, it's kind of the optimum brainwaves, as you mentioned, for your mind, for performing the best, learning the best.
Yeah.
It's like when you do one of those runs, I mean, you probably have it a lot more, but for the average person like me, I the only times I can remember it is like, say, riding a really steep power run, and I get to the bottom and I'm like, I don't really remember what I did, but I know, like, I don't remember thinking about what I did, but I know
it was just so easy,
Exactly. Yeah. And so you plug into this system, and then
it's almost like headphones, but it goes on your forehead and it clips to your ear.
And then so the drone takes off when you're there. And
it's so hard to like train your mind to do that, because in order to be in flow state, you need to be in that concentrated, like you need to be in that zone. And then a lot of times you'll get into flow state and then you'll hear the helicopter go off and then immediately out of it.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. For me, like I started snowboarding in 96, and I guess people were getting in the flow state by drinking beers or shots at the top of their runs or whatever else. And like to think how far it's come now that there's something you could put on your head and a helicopter will take off.
It's pretty crazy. He works with a lot of other athletes, like golfers too, stuff like that. It's really cool.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
Amazing. What do they think of next? So that those have been some of the opportunities with the national team, and it seems like it's working. Obviously, you had an incredible end of the season, but let's take it back a bit through to the beginning of your journey with snowboarding, because it sounded like, again, as seems to be a common theme through a lot of these interviews I do with Fear of the Flat Planet, presented by Toyota, is that you didn't grow up near any particularly spectacular mountains. Am I correct?
Yep. There's no mountains in Ontario. Yeah. So I grew up in Gravenhurst, which is a small little town, cottage country, in Gravenhurst. So I just rode at Mount St. Louis, which I'm sure like a lot of people have heard of. Just a small little hill, but they actually had a good park, and that's where Simple Snowboarding came out of. And Mikey and Tyler were both on Simple, so it's a pretty well-known team. And I always skied before that until I was 7. My grandparents bought me a 111 Burton chopper for my birthday, and after that I was just like, no more skiing, just snowboarding. And I rode for like a year and a bit, I think. And Elliot, who's now the national team coach, who coached for Simple at that time, he kind of saw me riding on the hill, and he was like, yo, you want to like join like Simple? We get coaching. It's like all winter kind of thing. And I was like super hyped on it. And then my mom signed me up, and I joined the team when I was 8. And now it's been 10 years. And technically, I'm still on the team, which is called Senders now.
Okay.
And just like started with those little ground competitions around Ontario, like not at mountains or anything, just like little park competitions. And then got into the next gen team and started like traveling more. I'd go out to Whistler, go to actual mountains, and started getting those opportunities. And then just progressed like a lot from there.
So what age were you when you got on the next gen team?
It was 3 years ago, so I would have been 15.
Did you skate as well before that, or was like just straight snow sports?
No, I don't think I'd ever done really well. I had a skateboard when I was a kid, but I was like horrible at it. Just like rode it for fun. Because I basically did anything that I could do.
Were you like naturally quite good from the beginning, or was it a struggle? Did you watch other kids around you going, man, they're so much better than me, and like, oh, all this? Or were you that kid?
No, not really. I was like, just like focused. Like I wanted to learn so much because I just wanted to be good. Yeah. You know, like I remember my first day, I was like riding the bunny hill, and I was trying to figure out which stance I was. And just like messing around. And then like the next season, like right at the start, I was supposed to do park lessons actually. And then first day we went just like with the like Mount St. Louis instructors, just like the people who work there. And first day we went to like a smaller hill, and we were like practicing carving and riding switch. And I could not ride switch at all. And I was just like so mad. So they ended up taking me out of the park lessons and putting me in like the normal hill lessons. And so I was just like so bummed, and I didn't want to be like doing that. So the instructor who taught like just like the snowboard lessons, my mom paid him, and he would stay after with me and take me in the park. And so I learned to start hitting features, and then I learned pretty quickly. And like by the end of that season, I could hit like some of the bigger stuff in the bigger parks. And then that's when Elliot saw me, and I joined the team the next year. Sick.
So just full focus. You're like, I am going to do this.
Yeah. And it got me really, like when I couldn't ride switch, I got really, really mad because all I wanted to do was go in the park, and then I got taken out of the park lessons. So I was like, I'm going to learn and I'm going to be good.
As you said, Ontario, I'm sure, I mean, the records say, oh, how many rad snowboarders have come out of that area. But at some point, I feel like it's time to load up the truck, load up the Toyota, and head out west to the bigger hills. That kind of sure. Started heading to Whistler and Banff and the areas.
Yeah, there's a lot of migration. There's like someone gets good from Ontario and they move to Whistler, and a lot of people from Ontario live there still now on the team or not on the team. So it's definitely like a common like idea for a lot of riders from there. And it's definitely something that I want to do eventually too. It's just traveling and competing right now is like, I might as well not rent a place in Whistler or live there and pay and then just be gone all the time when I could just like go back home. But I've been in Whistler a lot and it's super sick and I want to live there eventually.
As I mentioned in the beginning, you are an incredible multitasker, Liam. Not only are you the host of this podcast series for the Next Gen Squad, but you are, of course, on the national wakeboard team as well. So yeah, it's a little bit about your wakeboard career.
Well, how it started, I was snowboarding on Simple, and one of my friends, he wakeboarded at the time. He had the cottage, and he was like, "You should come out to like one of the competitions, one of just like the local competitions, see what it's like, because it would like, I think you would like it because it's like exactly like snowboarding." So next summer came around and just went to check out one of them, and I was like, that's so cool. It's like snowboarding. And then when I was there, I found out that there was a cable going in near my house. And so I could like go there, and I was like basically begged my mom to like get me a wakeboard, and just started wakeboarding. I never really had a coach. I wasn't on a team ever until like the national team or the national development team.
Wakeboarding isn't yet an Olympic sport. So how does it differ? I mean, I don't imagine you have helicopter drones measuring your flow state in the wakeboard team yet, is it?
Wakeboarding is a younger sport. So like the teams are smaller, the competitions are smaller, mostly everything's smaller. And so it hasn't been like put into the Olympics. I think there was a test event at one point.
Potential to be a winter and a summer Olympic athlete for Canada.
That would be cool.
We'll try and keep you focused on the winter one for now, but as soon as wakeboard's announced, we'll get you focused on both. Do you find a lot of crossover between the two? I mean, obviously you know a lot of the tricks on the rails are the same. That I imagine the aerial tricks are a bit different, but as far as like, do you feel that the wakeboarding helps your snowboarding a lot? Yeah,
definitely. I see like some people come back and like some of them skateboard, some of them don't, but they haven't been on a board in like a long time. So it's really weird to get used to. And wakeboarding is just like a little bit more similar than like probably anything else that you can do other than snowboarding. And so I think it helps a lot. And you said with rail tricks, obviously the jumps are a bit different because you're landing on flat water. And, you know, that like top level of wakeboarding is a lot less progressed than it is in snowboarding. But and then obviously you have the handle, but those like rail tricks, like keeping that, you know, strength in like your ankles or your legs because you're hitting rails the same way that you would on a snowboard, definitely helps. So they end up piggybacking on each other. So I wakeboard and like learn some stuff, and then I come back the next season snowboarding and I'm better than I was because of wakeboarding. They complement each other really well.
Sick. To keep you nice and buff for the ladies as well, dragged around on that cable all the time.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Very good. So, Liam, Fear of the Flat Planet is proudly sponsored by Toyota these days. So we have a little dream scenario right now. So you're chilling at home in Ontario. Toyota show up. They're like, right, here's whichever truck you want, whichever car you want. You know, you could load it up with whatever you want and whoever you want, and you can go anywhere in Canada. So what truck are you getting? Where are you going? What are you doing? And who's coming with you?
The Tundra, 100% favorite, like Canada snowboard trucks this year. The Tundra is so sick. That's like the truck I want, like no matter what. It's so super sick. So and then the snowboarding side of things, I think I'd toss some sleds in it. I haven't got a chance really to ride any backcountry or like real backcountry in my career, and it's definitely something that I want to get into. It's not just be riding parks all the time, just new experiences and stuff like that, and learn about all of that stuff. And I think maybe go to Revelstoke backcountry or Whistler backcountry, either one of those two. And then I definitely take Mikey Ciccarelli with me. He's like, I've looked up to him for a long time. He's from a small town in Ontario, just border from the same team that I was, and now he's into the backcountry mostly. So I definitely bring him. And then probably Mark, just because he's like, you know, I feel like this is for a lot of people, but I've been watching him for so long, and like he's invented like a lot of the tricks that snowboarding has nowadays. And it's just like been my idol when I was like a little kid, just like looking up to him like, whoa, I want to be like that when I get better at snowboarding. And then I have to bring a homie from back in Ontario. So I'd probably bring Cam Spalding, and he's been on the team since the same year I was. So met him when I was really young, and then we've just been boarding together. This year he's on next gen, so we're just moving up wakeboarding and snowboarding, because he's also a dual sport athlete.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Running partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pretty solid plan. I could back that for sure. And you shredding in the day? You're going to fit in a wakeboard session in the evening, a cable session maybe?
Yeah, there's snow parks near there, but we'll pretend that there is.
Dream scenario. We're mixing slight, you know, we're bending the rules of space and time a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a wakeboard session in the evening.
Sounds like a pretty good trip. Toyota Tundra and the boys.
Oh yeah.
Country sledding, and then off for a wakeboard sesh. Right then, back to the serious topic. Beijing next year, Liam. Beijing next year. How are you going to pull it off? We've got the flow state drone. You've got this season on a high, incredible results. How are you going to take down them big dogs? You got any secrets up your sleeve yet?
Nope. I don't plan that far ahead, but I know. But if there's World Cups next fall, there's a chance to get my ranking higher than it is now. Just gonna go for it. I want to get another good result. I'm not trying to get my hopes like really high right now, just in case, you know,
Sure.
like because someone has to have like that 5th spot, and it's a heated battle right now for sure.
Focus on what's in front of you, not what's down the road.
Yeah.
There you go. Very good. So where are you right now, Liam? Where are you talking to us from?
I'm currently actually at the wake park or near it that I'll be working at in the summer, but my boss also owns a construction company, so I'm working construction to make some more money right now.
Blue collar hero. None of this like flying off around the world to relax. You're out there grinding, mate. What are they?
I don't have enough money to fly around the world and relax.
Those are the days, mate. Cherish them. Cherish them. When you're rich and famous, you can look back and say, "Oh, I used to grind out on the construction site." When you're driving around in your gold Tundra after winning the Beijing Olympics.
I don't know about gold, but that's the dream.
Epic. Well, Liam, it's been great chatting to you. Some like that. I still can't get over the flow state drone thing. That's absolutely blown my mind.
Yeah, I have to talk to Chris about that one. I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully we got some interviews planned with some of the behind the scenes guys, because that stuff is like, to think that that's what's going on in snowboarding now is like, it's next.
Yeah,
It's
pretty crazy.
Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have to say a huge shout out to our sponsors, Skull Candy, Toyota, the presenting sponsor, of course, and everyone else. And of course, Liam, you have been modeling one of the most amazing pieces of clothing.
Ball cap, the curved brim one, the Canada snowboard from the website. They've also got toques, sweaters, shirts, everything like that. CanadaSnowboard.ca. Check it out. This is my favorite, definitely. You said it was the sickest. It is.
It is very sick. And yeah, as Liam mentioned, you could go on the website, buy some of the merchandise, support the team financially, and, you know, walking around showing your love in such fashionable gear. You can also make donations, ladies and gentlemen. They can, your donations, you can choose where they go. They can go to the provincial teams, to the national team, wherever you want. So get on there. And they're also tax deductible if you spend over 20 Canadian dollars. So wonderful to get out there. So Liam, thank you so much for joining us on Fear of a Flat Planet, presented by Toyota. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.